So we're about to have, I believe, a big enforcement effort by NYPD against cyclists on the new 15 mile per hour speed limit for motor-powered conveyances, not just e-bikes, but also stand-up scooters for that matter, and probably any other motorized type of device people are going to use around the city. And what immediately comes to mind is, what are the enforcement modes or formats that NYPD use when they want to do enforcement on cyclists? Well, to start it, they usually just try to borrow with what they do with motorists, because they just think, well, bicyclists, it's the same thing. It's a traffic stop. So that format is pull everyone over, right? Now, it's not a very smart way to do speeding enforcement, because once you pull people over, they're not speeding anymore. So you have to have made the speeding measurement. I don't know if they're going to be using the stationary checkpoint, but the fact is, in New York City, cops would even use a stationary checkpoint with ticketing cyclists for equipment violations or whatever else they could find in the wake of a cyclist fatality. It was standard practice up until about 2018 or 2019 or so for NYPD to go out and do massive ticket blitzes on cyclists, not just moving violations, but equipment violations, anything they could find in a spot where a cyclist was killed, because the thought was, well, if we enforce the cycling laws hard enough, then we'll get rid of this problem of cyclists in traffic, right? They get rid of the problem by getting rid of the cyclists, by ticketing them off the streets. So we got rid of that, but periodically you see every time cops get sent out to write tickets on cyclists, they don't really get too bogged down with the details of what the actual laws are that they're trying to enforce. Instead, what they do is they just try to produce the required numbers of tickets, because that's what they're told to do. So stationary checkpoint is a pretty good format, because you're always going to find some equipment violations on bicycles and maybe some other things that will happen, right? Like getting into a fight with the police, and then, you've got escalation, you've got disorderly conduct, obstructing government administration, resisting arrest. You can get all kinds of charges that emerge out of a stationary traffic checkpoint. What are the alternatives? Well, they aren't great either, right? You can have police officers riding behind cyclists to gauge their speed and the type of vehicle that they're using, right? The speed limit doesn't apply to cyclists without motors. We can go faster. It's a citywide speed limit of 25. Here in the park, it's 20. So the police, are they going to be following cyclists in the park on patrol cars? In patrol cars to see if they can match the speed of the cyclist and get a reading while the cyclist was proceeding at 18 miles an hour, so I can write a ticket on them, because I think it's an e-bike they're operating? It's very dangerous. Even here at night, the park drive is full of people walking, running, riding with their dogs, horse-drawn carriages. You can't have police in patrol cars following cyclists to check their speed, looking at their speedometer to see what the speed is, and not noticing, oops, there's a horse-drawn carriage I'm about to drive into, right? That's not the answer. And then, of course, you could end up with a motorized pursuit. If you have police officers with handheld speed guns or some sort of a device like the one they have down here that's giving a speed readout of what the approaching cyclists are doing, or they're approaching horse-drawn carriages, what speed they're going at. What if someone doesn't stop? Do you just take off after them in a patrol car? This guy, for example, he's got 15, 19, 17, 24, 25. I don't know how accurate those things are. But the short of it is, the park is not where, it should not be enforcement ground zero for a 15 mile per hour speed limit on motorized bicyclists. And honestly, the whole idea of trying to enforce a 15 mile per hour speed limit on motorized bikes but not other bikes, to me, is just asinine. You should be regulating the tech, not the people. We should be keeping the bikes that are the ones capable of engaging in the dangerous conduct off our streets, not running after the people and causing even greater dangers by trying to ticket them. I mean, that much is apparent, but we'll just have to see. We have an election coming up. Interestingly, I think the major contenders for mayor of New York all have said that they're considering the current NYPD commissioner, Jessica Tisch, as a commissioner that they would continue in their administration. Well, let's see if we can do smart policing for once on cyclists. Not just point the cops at the cyclists, but figure out a way to do it where you're actually going after the dangerous conduct that gave rise to the complaints and the reason for the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in the first place. Smart enforcement, you'll have my vote.